Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we're discussing a new batch of Warhammer 40k spoilers, and we're going to be talking about Chaos. So without further ado, let's get started. And we're starting with Tallyman of Nurgle for 2 colorless and 1 black, a creature, our Stardust Warrior, 2/3 with lifelink, the Sevenfold Chant. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. If 7 or more creatures died this turn, instead you draw 7 cards and you lose 7 life. Wow, that's pretty solid. So at worst, you're going to be drawing a card with this and losing a life, and it has lifelink, so you're going to be able to recoup that pretty fast. But in a dedicated Aristocrats deck, where you're going to have things dying all over the place, or in a deck where you're going to be attacking with a lot of small creatures and turning things sideways a lot, and things are just going to naturally die, this can suddenly draw you 7 cards, a fresh new hand at the end step. That is going to be really, really sweet. And the fact that this is good at the worst case scenario, and amazing if you manage to turn on the condition, means that it'll probably see play. Next up we have Venom Crawler for 3 colorless and 1 black, artifact creature demon with lifelink, Devourer of Souls. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Venom Crawler, and it's a 2/2. So again, this goes straight into Aristocrat decks. The reason I think that this might have potential, even though it's a bit slow, is the lifelink. Stuff is going to be dying a lot, and you often lose a lot of life in those kind of decks because people either attack you early, or because you draw cards with Necropotence, or hurt yourself with a lot of the black effects that cost you life. This helps you recover from that a little bit. If you can grow it big enough, it can be a legitimate threat on its own that people have to waste removal on. Next up we have Exalted Flamer of Sylvanesh. It's 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, creature demon, 2/4, with Sorcerer's Inspiration. At the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand. And Fire of Sylvanesh. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Exalted Flamer of Sylvanesh deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is amazing. This is really good. Charmbreaker Devils was always good, but too slow, really, for Commander in general. This costs 2 mana less, and also comes with a payoff, where it just lets you deal damage to each opponent whenever you cast anything. This is so good. It's going to keep the cards flowing. It also has a decent body. A 2/4 is not that easy to remove. I think this is fantastic. Next up is Draconic for 4 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, a legendary artifact equipment, Echo of the First Murder. When Draconic enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature, and Demon Sword. Equipped creature has menace and gets +X/+0, where X is the exiled card's power, and it has equip 2. So this is solid for a couple of reasons. First, equipment decks or Voltron decks have difficulty finding slots to put in removal because you often have to pack so many things in to put on your commander. This lets you pack removal and evasion into 1 card. It's also relatively cheap to equip, so if you get rid of something huge and then you just equip it onto some of your creatures, you're just suddenly swinging for a ton of damage with menace. I think this is really, really powerful late game. Bloodthirster for 5 colorless, 1 red, a creature demon with flying trample. It's a 6/6, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, untap it. After this combat phase, there is an additional combat phase. Bloodthirster can't attack a player it has already attacked this turn. Normally that means he's going to attack 3 times per combat. That's already pretty good. But if you play this in a deck with Vigilance, or in a deck with ways to untap all of your creatures, suddenly you're getting 3 extra combat steps per turn. That is absolutely nuts, so they need to totally kill this on sight. This card is going to be amazing in certain decks. Next up is Herald of Sylvanesh for 2 colorless and 1 red. It's a creature demon. It has Locust of Slarnish. Demon spells you cast cost 2 colorless less to cast. Other demons you control have haste. It's a 2/2. Really good in demon tribal decks. It's going to let everything come down for super cheap, and then they're all going to have haste as well. This is amazing as an enabler. The demon deck looks really sweet. Next up is Chaos Mutation for 3 colors, 1 blue, 1 red. It's an instant. It has exile any number of target creatures controlled by different players. For each creature exiled this way, its controller reveals card from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card, puts that card onto the battlefield, then puts the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. So a nice polymorph effect, but it can also mess with the opponent's board. If they have something really big and you're confident that they're going to hit something worse, you can use this. It's an instant, so it's just a really fun card, and it can be quite good as removal sometimes, although it does come with a little bit of risk. Knight Rampager is a 4 colorless, 1 red, artifact creature knight, and a 6/5. With Trample, Frenzied Rampage. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random. Knight Rampager attacks that player this combat if able, and when it dies, it deals 4 damage to target opponent chosen at random. So So it's pretty big for the cost, but the downside is that you're going to need to attack randomly. If your deck is built around that kind of effect, attacking randomly, or it's a fun kind of deck, this won't be an issue. You're just going to attack in any way you see fit. Maybe you're playing a Ruhan of the Fomori deck where everything attacks at random. I kind of like that. And it even deals damage randomly when it dies, so it's just a very fun effect all around. Next up is Khan the Betrayer for 3 colors and 1 red. It's a legendary creature, Astartes Berserker, a 5/1 with Berserker. Khan the Betrayer attacks or blocks each combat if able. And when you lose control of Khan the Berserker, draw 2 cards. And it also has, if damage would be dealt to it, prevent that damage, and an opponent of your choice gains control of it. Really weird card, super wacky commander. I'm sure there's a lot of really fun things you can do with this and a cool build around. It's one of the few ways to draw cards in red, but of course you're drawing them by giving this to an opponent, and then it's going to have to attack, and then it's going to also draw cards. It's going to be difficult to kill because you have to use a kill spell on it. You can't kill it with damage. Really interesting and wacky design. Loving it. Next up is Seeker of Slarnish for 3 colors and 1 red. It's a creature demon with haste, Allure of Slarnish. Each opponent must attack with at least 1 creature each combat if able. So just another kind of card that'll go in Go decks. It's going to force your opponents to do a little bit of attacking. They can come at you, which is a little bit awkward, but still, some people will like this. Chaos Defiler for 3 colors, 1 black and 1 red. An artifact creature demon construct 5/4 with Trample and Battle Cannon. When it enters the battlefield or dies, for each opponent, choose an on-land permanent that player controls. Destroy 1 of them at random. So you're going to get something that you want. You can actually remove enchantments with this in red-black, which is kind of unusual. So there is always that. It's nice that you get it twice. This is a really powerful effect in a way. But man, Wizards seems to really be embracing that whole chaos thing by having so many random effects. Next up is the Lost and the Damned. For 1 colorless, 1 blue and 1 red. An enchantment with whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control from anywhere other than your hand, or you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, create a 3/3 red spawn creature token. Really good in Cascade decks, really awesome there. It's also really good in decks that are ramping, because every time you ramp, basically you're getting a 3/3 as well. That's also really solid. This can be in a bunch of different kind of decks, and it's kind of a wacky effect, but it could get out of control pretty quickly, because 3/3s are not insignificant. And finally, we have Tango or Shaman for 2 colors, 1 blue, 1 red. It's a creature, Mutant Shaman. It's a 3/3 with flying, sorceress, elixir. Whenever Tango Shaman deals combat damage to a player, copy the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn. When you cast it, you may choose new targets for the copy. Just a nice little copying effect for instant or sorceries. Blue-red is usually in for that kind of effect, and it's really nice that you can do it repeatedly every time this connects. I think this could be pretty good in Spellslinger decks. The question is, are you going to be able to find slots for this? Because there's so many good enablers right now, but you can't have them not be instant or sorceries because you'll end up watering down your deck too much. So there you have it. That's our new batch of spoilers for the Warhammer 40k decks. Did you enjoy this video? If so, let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel, and we're growing right now. And until next time, take care.